You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Happy Monday. We are getting to it finally. It's a little late, but c'est la vie. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. We are back to every day, thankfully. Still coughing, but that's about it. Back to feeling mostly like a normal human today. Took a little bit of the weekend. Getting geared up on a Nintendo Switch for some reason. That's become a thing for me. I don't know why. Zelda and Ori Will of the Wisps have been kind of my jam. Trying out some new things. If you have Nintendo Switch recommendations, let me know. I'm more of a PS5 guy. Nonetheless, Locked On Wolverines podcast. Like I said, I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. We are going to get into some Georgia stuff today. A week from today, I will be in Fort Lauderdale for the all of the festivities. We'll try to get podcasts out next week in the morning because it's going to be hard to get them in later in the day whatsoever. So we'll try to do our best to do them in the morning just so that they're out. Otherwise, it's going to be like midnight. That's how it's going to go. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but it's hard to believe that's Bowl Week is next week. Christmas is this week. It's happening. We're right there. So anyway, let's get into it with a little bit of Georgia stuff. First, I want to talk about, I was listening to SiriusXM yesterday. I was running some errands, doing some shopping. I'm listening to College Sports Weekend or whatever it's called with Barrett Sallee and Tom Luganbill, and they've constantly drawn my ire over the years. And just when it seems like Barrett Sallee's kind of coming around, even though he's obviously an SEC homer, starting to kind of come around a bit on Michigan, and like he even admitted, hey, Michigan had no business losing to Michigan State. Okay, we're all in agreement there. I still think it's funny the way things have played out, right? I think it's perfect the way things have played out. I don't think any of you would change a thing if you were offered this deal for 100 straight years. Lose to Michigan State 100 straight times, beat Ohio State 100 straight times. Take your chances on whether or not that means college football playoff. I think that everyone would take that. But nonetheless, Barrett Sallee and Tom Luganbill, they're talking about this Michigan-Georgia game. Like, they talked about Cincinnati and Alabama, and they're sitting there saying, like, yeah, you know Luke Fickell's going to have some stuff dialed right up. You know, it's going to be very exciting with things that they have dialed up for Alabama. But when it comes to Michigan and Georgia, here, even though they admit, hey, it's going to be a great game. Going to be a great game. Say, well, you know, they got a quarterback situation. Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels kind of feels like to win the national championship, you're going to need JT Daniels. And then they're like, but you know what? They don't really need him for Michigan, right? You can just get right by Michigan with whatever you got out there. Just put whatever you want. And even Tom Luganbill, in his defense, comes out and says, I think we're undervaluing Michigan a little bit. This is a team that's peaking at the right time. They're getting like the play that you need at the right time, all that kind of stuff. It's just like feels like a team of destiny. Barrett Sallee comes back and says, here's the thing. If Georgia doubles Aiden Hutchinson, because we all know he's a really good player, who does Michigan even have that can sack the quarterback? Again, to his credit, Tom Luganbill says David Ojabo. Barrett Sallee's like, if they doubled Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo is not going to be a factor. Oh, really? You mean the guy who, and I don't have the numbers up in front of me, but I'm going to get them up. You mean the guy who Todd McShay has as the number 10 player selected overall in the upcoming draft? That guy? That guy doesn't matter. David Ojabo, number 10 in sacks in the country with 11. Yeah, who does Michigan even have to get to the quarterback? Yeah, I don't. Apparently, no one. By the way, cool little thing, Luigi Villain. I just did a transfer thing, like all the what the transfer people did. Luigi Villain is 24th in the country, former Michigan guy. It's at Wake Forest, so I think that's kind of cool. It'd be obviously nice to have him around still. He was my guy. But when you look at Georgia, I'm looking at Georgia's sacks, and I know they keep things in front of them. That's kind of their deal. They're not all about getting the sacks. There's no one Georgia guy to be found as far as one guy. Now, they might have a situation because they do get after the quarterback quite a bit still. They're number 6 in the country in sacks. They're kind of in the same situation as like Michigan's receivers and everything like that. So I'm not actually impugning Georgia's production. It's just more of it's just making fun of the fact that, like, hey, Michigan's got more than Aiden Hutchinson on defense. And it's just silly just to act like Michigan doesn't stand a chance. Michigan certainly stands a chance. I'm leaning towards picking Michigan to win in the game, but I do feel a little bit daunted to some degree by the Georgia defense. I do think the Georgia defense is very good, but I think the corollary there is that I don't know that the Georgia offense is going to be able to do much against the Michigan defense. They haven't exactly played a murderer's row of teams in a lot of ways. I think defensively, they have played some that are pretty good. Michigan's played some that are better. I know we talked about this before. Michigan's played Wisconsin and Michigan, and who's the number 1 defenses by total defense. They've let up less rushing yards than Georgia. Like, everyone wants to talk about, like, yeah, Georgia just doesn't. They don't let people run the football. Guess who has let up less, right? Okay, let's go yards per game. I'm gonna audible here. Rushing defense. Wisconsin's still the clear number 1. They're allowing 61 yards a game. Georgia is number 3. They're allowing 81 yards a game. Michigan against Wisconsin, I know it wasn't like a huge number, got 112. They were able to run the ball against Wisconsin. The only other team, there were 2 other teams that got over 100 yards against Wisconsin. Nebraska with 101 and Army, which obviously ran a bit more with their triple option. It's a little bit different with 179. So kudos to Wisconsin, by the way, for having numbers like that, even when playing a triple option. Like that's a difficult thing. So as far as rushing defenses are concerned, Michigan managed to be able to move the ball against the number 1 team enough. And then obviously they threw a bit. I think that's obviously what they're going to need. Let's get into a little bit of a deep dive with some of the numbers, just kind of numbers in and of themselves. Like I'm not looking at Pro Football Focus, but maybe we'll bring some of that into it because I feel like that'll round things out a bit. I think that's probably important. But before we do, got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. I've been telling you all about it. If you haven't signed up, what are you waiting for? In addition to college football action, Prize Picks makes college basketball more exciting. So Prize Picks is the leader in college sports daily fantasy, offer more college football and basketball props than anyone in the world, and they offer all the star players of the Power 5 as well as the mid-major players you might not have ever even heard of. Prize Picks offers any prop you can think of in basketball. You can play points, rebounds, assists, threes made, and more. Make your deposit using the promo code LOCKEDON. You'll receive a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100. You can pick 2 to 5 players, and over and under on the projections. You win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. Prize Picks allows mixed sport entries. That means you can take the over on Joel Embiid and the under on Aaron Rodgers in the same entry. Use the award-winning app on the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Prize Picks is safe. It also offers fast withdrawals. So don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON or go to your App Store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All right, shout out to tomorrow's deal, home field. So I'm wearing the Green Wave shirt, Fear the Green Wave, the hoodie. It's seriously, their hoodies are easily the most comfortable things I've owned, period. The shirts, the hoodies, all that, but I mean the hoodies in particular, it's like wearing a hug. Also shout out to the Valiant guys, Jared Wangler, Nico Poricos. Get the Michigan versus everybody situation here. You can get that at MDen. This one is one that I picked up myself. It's not paid promotion. Some of the others are. This isn't paid promotion. I bought this myself as well. So anyway, all right, let's move on. My little deep dive thing here. Before I do that, I want to get into Pro Football Focus just because I feel like that's going to round things out a little bit more. So defensively, naturally, Georgia's number one. They have the number one defense in the country, according to Pro Football Focus. Michigan's third, Wisconsin's fourth. 94.3 score for Georgia, 92 score for Wisconsin. Just to kind of, again, put things into perspective. When it comes to run defense, Alabama's actually higher at 93, according to Pro Football Focus. Wisconsin's higher than Georgia at 90.7. Wisconsin is 2 spots lower than Georgia. They're third, then Wisconsin's fifth, Michigan's seventh. Pass defense, using pass rush, Georgia's all the way down at 11. Michigan's up at number 3. Wisconsin's number 6, by the way. Coverage, Georgia's number 1. That's, I think, to be expected. They're 93. Wisconsin's not on the list, but coverage, again, Iowa's number 4. Washington's number 2. Granted, Michigan didn't try to throw against Washington. Penn State's number 8. Let's look at a couple of these other teams, by the way. So you look at run defense. Michigan ran enough on Wisconsin, who's number 5 in Pro Football Focus's metrics. Number 16, Michigan State. They weren't able to really run the ball very well on them still. Iowa's 29th. They got what they needed, got busted up a big run there. I don't know where Penn State is. Ohio State's 49th. You know where that went. As far as just overall defense, let's just look at overall defense. So again, Pro Football Focus. We'll have those guys on soon because we were supposed to have Anthony Treishon right after the Big Ten championship game before I caught the plague. So as far as defenses are concerned, teams that Georgia has faced, which I think is important from an offensive perspective because they obviously struggled against Alabama, number 9. That's the top defense that they played. And I'm going to get to the raw numbers here momentarily too. As far as otherwise, Clemson's number 18, and you keep in mind they only put up 10 points on Clemson. And then Auburn 27. You start to scroll a little bit here, right? There aren't a lot of teams with top defenses that they have played as rated by Pro Football Focus. As far as Michigan's concerned, I mean, Michigan, which has the number 3 defense, is rated by Pro Football Focus. Playing, there's number 4, Wisconsin, that they obviously took down. They destroyed number 11, Iowa's defense. Then I saw a couple other ones here, and I just lost it. I know that Ohio State's 41, tied with Washington. Maybe that is the next one. Penn State's 47, Michigan State's 50. Move the ball on all of them. So I think that all bodes well. I'll flesh this out momentarily here. Overall teams, I mean, Georgia's number 1, as you might imagine. Michigan's number 4, so it's not like they're a slouch here. As far as the grading, what's happened in games type situation. Michigan has wins over number 2, Ohio State, number 6, Wisconsin, and then number 24, Iowa. You look at Georgia, they have a loss to number 5, Alabama. They have a win over number 12, Kentucky. They have a win over number 15, UAB. And that's it. So let's get to the other numbers, the ones that I extricated already. So here's the thing. I just wanted to separate things by the rushing attack that Georgia has faced as by total yards rushing, and then where the offenses rank. So Clemson is the 57th best running attack in the country with averaging 171. They have the 95th best offense. UAB, 51st in running the football, 74th total offense. South Carolina, 104th running the ball, 115th total offense. Vanderbilt, 103 and 119 respectively. Arkansas, they actually do have a pretty good rushing offense. Number 12, 217 yards generally, only 75 yards against Georgia. The 30th ranked offense. Auburn is 63rd in both categories, rushing and total offense. Kentucky is 22nd. They actually only managed 51 against Georgia, 44 offense overall. Florida has got the 10th ranked offense. They managed 355 yards total against Georgia. 21st ranked rushing attack. They got 161 yards against Georgia. So that shows you it can be done. Missouri, 52 and 60. Tennessee is 19 and 15. They're built kind of similarly to Michigan in the sense that much more prolific rushing attack and more mediocre passing attack overall as far as the numbers bear out. And they put up 387 yards against Georgia. Most of that through the air, though, because they only managed 55 on the ground against Georgia. Which, I mean, if you can get close to 400 or over 400, I mean, I take it against that defense, right? Georgia Tech is 68 and 92. Alabama, their last opponent, 79th rushing attack. They got 115 yards against Georgia and the number 6 offense in the country. They will be facing Michigan's 9th ranked rushing attack that averages 224 yards a game. The 67th passing attack, which averages 228. So that tells you the balance, that it's right there. And the number 17 offense. There are 5 schools that Georgia has faced that are better at passing than Michigan. There are no schools that Georgia has faced that are better in rushing. There are 3 offenses overall by total offense that are better than Michigan, but Georgia has the 26th ranked offense. I'm going to go back to PFF real quick. Michigan has the 21st ranked offense according to Pro Football Focus. Georgia actually has the 5th according to Pro Football Focus. Michigan's 21st, like I said. As far as top-rated offenses that they faced, they did shut down Kentucky, which is the 3rd ranked offense. They did not shut down Alabama, the 11th. And when you get to Michigan, or just like looking at what I've seen here, that's it. Michigan's defense shut down the number 1 offense in Ohio State. Michigan's also faced, I mean, not a ton here. Michigan State 25, obviously that was a loss, and 28 Wisconsin. So I think that kind of nails it. So it wasn't as conclusive as I had hoped, but here's kind of what I want to get into. We'll get into that momentarily, actually, kind of why I want to explain my thought process of extrapolating some of these things here. We'll get to that here in just a second here. But before we do, listen, betonline.ag, they have you covered for more props, odds, and lines all season long, more than ever as football season continues, the march towards the playoffs in the NFL and starting all the bowl games here already. BetOnline remains your number 1 spot for all the sports action this season, so head over to the new updated desktop or mobile website. Try to say both website and desktop at the same time. Sign up today, receive your 50% welcome bonus using the promo code LOCKEDON with your first deposit. From basketball, football, NHL, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, when the game starts. All right, one other thing for you, Built Bar. Y'all know how much I love Built Bar. It's funny. I buy so many boxes of Built Bar, I forgot that I had bought a couple other boxes. It was something that I bought, right? Like they had a limited edition eggnog, and let me tell you, it is unbelievable. It is absolutely incredible. I love it so much. You don't know what Built Bar is? It is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It's a high protein, low calorie, low carb. It's everything you want. I have bought dozens of boxes of my own volition using my own money. I was like, I need to go buy another box of Built Bar because I am out of my coconut brownie chunk. I am almost out of my peanut butter brownie, and then I get a notification, your Built Bar is arriving today. And I'm like, wait, because it's that good. I have to go and just get it. So anyway, don't delay. Go to built.com, put in promo code LOCK15. That's built.com, promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off of your next order. All right, so why do I go through the numbers here as far as the offenses that Georgia's faced? Because the reason why, and I know, here's the thing, is it's all about matchups. It's not about necessarily like, hey, this defense is really good. This offense, like, yeah, you have to look a little bit deeper, and we haven't really kind of gotten into that necessarily. I don't know that I particularly will, in a sense, but You have to try to figure out what they're good at stopping and what they're bad at stopping in particular. And yes, Georgia is very good against the run. Clearly Alabama exposed them against the pass, but there's some of these offense. I didn't read the passing numbers, even though I extrapolated that as well. They didn't face anyone that's particularly great at passing the ball either. I think that's kind of it, right? Mediocre running attacks and bad passing attacks most of the time. Michigan, you have to keep in mind as well, and why I think I have a little bit more faith in Michigan here is because, the passing attack, there's 5 schools that they face that are better than passing. Missouri's one tick ahead of them at 66th. Tennessee is 56th. Alabama is obviously the best at 7th. It's one of those things, though, where it's like Michigan isn't like trying to pass the ball. They're really trying to revolve around the fact that, hey, we can run on anybody. And it starts with the offensive line, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that Georgia has played anyone terribly prolific. As far as better offenses, they've played, like I said, 3 total. Florida had some success. They didn't finish the job in scoring, so it's going to be up to Michigan to find ways to do that. And I don't think that Florida's defense, I could be speaking out of turn here, I don't think their defense is much to speak home about at the moment. I could be completely wrong. I don't think it is. That's 46th, so it's not really that. They're going to face a much bigger challenge, obviously. Now, it's the college football playoff, so, I mean, that theoretically, that's how it's supposed to go. Biggest challenge yet in this game and then the following game. But Michigan being 11th in total defense, Michigan being up there in offense, I think that Georgia just hasn't faced anything like that, right? Like Georgia hasn't even they faced one defense or 2 defenses, I guess, that are better than Michigan's by the total defensive numbers. Alabama's number 8, Clemson's number 9. So we'll see how that ends up going in the sense of, like, I think that it could be a back and forth type deal when it comes to the defensive numbers. According to Pro Football Focus, this is easily the best defense they have faced. I mean, UAB's there, but that doesn't count, right? That's like looking at, hey, Michigan shut down Western Michigan's prolific offense. Okay. You know what I mean? But the thing is that kind of ties it all together in my mind is we've seen Michigan and its offense. Just because it's rated a certain way doesn't mean that's exactly what it is. Now, 17th in the country, cool. That's a good number. That's a surprisingly good number for Michigan. I don't recall probably you have to go back to like the Rich Rod years in which Michigan had an offense rated that high, right? Because, I mean, I'm not going to look at 2020, but as far as, let's see, 2019, you feel like, hey, the offense was okay, right? 68th. 2018, hey, you feel like the offense was okay? 50th. 2016, hey, you feel like the offense is okay? I mean, the offense was pretty good that year. 58th. 2011, where was Michigan's offense with Denard Robinson? 42. 2010, Michigan's 8th. So they're right up there in that sense, right? Where they're able to run the ball. Obviously pass as well. But I feel like it's a situation where Michigan's gone up against some harder defenses overall. And maybe my numbers actually kind of prove against that a little bit. But I have more faith with the fact that Michigan was able to play some of the top scoring defenses, which is what we covered last week. I believe it was in the mailbag, or it was Friday or something like that, or Friday was the mailbag, where you're looking at a situation where, like, hey, Penn State's a really stout defense. They're better than their total defense numbers show. Michigan managed to move the ball against them. Wisconsin, Michigan moved the ball against them. Some of those types of teams. Iowa, Michigan gave Iowa something it's never going to forget, right? Just got throttled. A defense that does not get throttled got throttled. So that's all I'm saying. That's what we're getting to. All right. That's going to be it for today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll be up on Wednesday with someone from DraftKings, I believe. I'm doing a terrible job of promoting it. Just confirmed it today, but we got someone from DraftKings coming on to talk about betting the game, betting college football playoffs, bets to take, all that kind of stuff. That's my first foray into that, so we'll see how that goes. Thursday will be the mailbag. Friday, I don't know, maybe we'll do the preview a week early with Jake. We'll see. Let's see what Jake's doing, but it's Christmas Eve, so maybe not. All right, that'll do it for us today, though. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. See you then. Peace.